All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I want to jump on here to help you out with the eye hook. This is arguably one of the harder parts on our CO2 car. Definitely one of the most important physical components, but it's pretty challenging to create, mostly because of how complex this drawing is, okay? So we're provided with a front view here of the eye hook, and hopefully in class you've had the opportunity actually to hold it, and you can kind of see how small it is. In addition, you look over here and you can see how there is a section AA, okay, because this is actually a cross section, as if we slice this thing in half. And we see that there's a 1.5 millimeter idea here, and they talk about some threads, and there's a sweep detail. So a lot of students just get caught up in what this means, okay? So, believe it or not, we have a steel hook that is going to be basically a triangle, which is swept all the way around this cylinder, and it comes to a point. All right, so we're going to use quite a few tools here. It looks a little bit more complicated than it actually is, and for the most part, students end up really appreciating these tools and how powerful they can be. So let's jump into it, okay? So just like before, we are going to start with a front view sketch, all right? And we have this candy cane question mark idea here. And you're going to see that there's a sweep detail here. So we could draw both of those circles, but if you have used sweep before, basically how sweep works is you're going to have a profile and a path. So we're going to draw essentially a question mark using the details that are provided to us, and then we're going to sweep this circle all the way through. And once you see it, it will make a lot of sense. All right, so I'm going to start out here. Let me go over to the side here. And we have a 6 millimeter circle, okay? And we also have a 30-degree angle that is not included in our sweep, okay? Or you could think about it as 330 degrees that is included. Really, both ways are going to allow you to get to the right answer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little cut of a piece of pizza here. Okay, and it's not going to be correct at first. However, when we dimension a line, we're given a dimension like a distance or a length. But when I click two lines, you can see how, boom, all of a sudden I get an actual angle measurement, which is a very important tool. The other piece here that's going to be important is the trim tool. So I don't want this little piece here, right? I do want these lines to stay. So I'm actually going to make these construction lines, right? And we've learned and talked a lot about that in class. I'd say that's the part that students struggle with the most. From here, we're going to draw a line that goes from here all the way to the bottom that has a dimension of, I believe it's 8 millimeters. I'm going to double check that. It is 8 millimeters, okay? We're going to go ahead and finish this sketch because we have actually just drawn the question mark that we need to occur. You can do an offset plane here to make this happen, but I have had the best experience with using this tool right here, plane along a path, okay? Wherever I click on the path, I can actually get a plane, meaning if I click right here, I'm going to have a path arise, okay? And, excuse me, a plane arise. What that's going to allow me to do is instead of drawing on the front view, I can draw on the path that was created, which that's where students really struggle, okay? So what I'm going to do is, and again, the reason I'm doing this is because I want this circle, which is 1.5 millimeters, to be included in this path so that I'm able to actually sweep it through. Because that's how the sweep button works, right? We're going to say, hey, what profile do you want to sweep? This circle. Hey, what path? This path. And boom, we end up with the path that we are looking for. Okay, so the next piece is a little bit tricky because students typically jump directly to coil. They don't think about the chamfer. Okay, so what I think makes the most sense is to actually do an offset plane of 1 millimeter. Now I'm going to do -1, and I'll show you why in a moment. Because what is going to happen when we apply the coil is we are going to basically tell the coil where to start. Okay, so I'm going to begin drawing on the plane that I just created. I'm going to look at this from the bottom view, so I'm able to get exactly 1.5 millimeters. Okay, and when you get this, you're going to see that the coil instantaneously pops up. Now I want it to go this way. All right. And the reason we have this additional millimeter is because we're going to make this a point so it sticks into our CO2 car, right? So this says 5 revolutions in 6 millimeters. So I just dragged it up to 6 millimeters, but right now there's only 3. We want 5. If you look at the additional piece, we notice that there's a triangle, and right now it's circular. So you can do this on the inside or on the outside. We want it on the outside. So you see how that's occurring. It's also red right now, so we don't want that to be red because that would ensue it cutting. We want it to join. We want it to be in more of the piece, right? And then in addition, I believe it's 0.2, if I remember correctly. It is. So we're going to have 0.2. All right. So we end up with that entire idea. And our last piece is the chamfer, and it says 0.75 millimeters at 45 degrees. Basically, what that means is we, at this edge, are going to take and cut. Must have done something wrong on the chamfer. Yep, I said 0.45. I meant to do 0.75. And we are going to have that overall point. Okay, so right now we have a pretty solid eye hook using some decent CAD skills here, right? So I'm going to rename this. We're going to call this the eye hook. You'll end up using 2 of these. We're going to go into our physical material. It's stainless steel. Those are the ones that we have. Steel. Okay, so we got to go into metals and go down to the S's. Let's see. S is stainless steel. We'll take the first one, stainless steel. We can paint it if you would like, but that gives us an eye hook. And that one's a little bit tricky for sure. So I am looking forward to seeing what you do next. Good work.